This Mason and Hamlin reed organ was built in November of 1909. When I purchased it, very little of the organ was functional. Many of the stops didn't work, and the bellows, of course, wouldn't hold any air. The good news is that it was fairly clean inside, having spent most of its lifetime in a home. Also, it hadn't been worked on, so most of the interior was original. Of course, all of the bellows cloth and leather needed to be replaced. Many of the small metal pieces had corroded over the years. The air reservoir and exhausters had to be completely disassembled. Everything was taken apart for repair and restoration. After the boards had been cleaned and refinished as needed, new bellows cloth was installed. A custom mandrel was made on the metal lathe in order to make new springs. Here you see the new springs alongside the old ones. These hold the flap valves in place securely. At this point, everything on the lower action has been repaired. And it's put back into the case. Now the upper action is completely stripped down to the bare soundboard. Some of the wooden surfaces appear to have been damaged and would not seal against the leather. These all had to be patched, cleaned, and thoroughly sanded down smooth so that the leather would seal. One reed was missing, two had been replaced, two more were damaged. Replacement reeds were located and they were voiced and tuned to match. All of the reeds were cleaned in an ultrasonic cleaner. The interior of the reed pan was disassembled and patched, cleaned, and sanded smooth. The pallets all received new felt and new leather. All of the internal linkages had new felt applied. The springs were cleaned and everything was reassembled. There were adjustments that needed to be made between the front part of the linkages and the rear part. A custom tool was made so that the adjustments could be made from the top. Now on to the top of the assembly. New leather, new hinges, new felt on all the mutes. The linkages to the mutes were all cleaned and reassembled. All new leather, felt, and hinges on the swell shutters. Next are the octave couplers. They were all completely disassembled, cleaned, and reassembled with new felt. The height of the couplers was adjusted and checked for easy movement.
Okay, this is much happier.
Now on to the keyboard. New felts were applied throughout. The two keys on the right were cleaned. What a difference. Fresh graphite was applied onto the pitmans.
So here I am adjusting the screw on the bottom that attaches to the spring with a 100-gram weight. Boom, set.
The sub bass was next. All new felt, hinges, leathers. The linkages to the sub bass were installed and adjusted. New vanes were cut for the Vox Humana and it was completely rebuilt. The stopboard linkages were installed with all new felt and leather. It's starting to look like an organ again. All of the reeds were tuned on a tuning bench. They were allowed to settle for 2 weeks and then tuned again. Now it's time to go back into the case. At this point I could finally play it with everything attached together.